Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the afternoon edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today we shall be taking on the same issue that we've been discussing, the impact of fuel subsidy and also the palliative measures by the government while Nigerians are still waiting. But then just a few minutes from ago, there was the issue of the announcement of some names of the ministers that were appointed, or probably the name sent by the president to the National Assembly, of which the Senate leader was reading the names before I was able to come into the studio this afternoon. While we await the screening of the ministers, still we all understand that there are so many issues that the ministers will definitely need to address as soon as they are being screened. The issue of fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria has remained a highly contentious and polarizing topic, sparking heated debate among policymakers, economists, citizens, and various stakeholders. For decades, the Nigerian government has grappled with the complexities of subsidizing petroleum product, especially, or probably seeking to strike a balance between providing the relief to the masses and addressing the numerous challenges associated with this policy. As one of Africa's leading oil-producing nations, Nigeria has long relied on the fuel subsidy as a means to cushion the impact of volatile oil prices on its citizens. But the rising fiscal burden and structural inefficiencies have compelled authorities to reevaluate the sustainability of this practice. In this discussion, we will delve into the multifaceted dimensions of fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria, exploring the economic, social, and political implications that underpin this pivotal decision. We aim to shed light on the reasons behind the government's consideration for subsidy reform and the potential consequences it could bring to the nation's economy and society. From the macroeconomic perspective, fuel subsidies have posed significant challenges to Nigerians' fiscal health. The subsidy regime has consistently strained the government budget, diverting substantial funds that could otherwise be allocated to critical sectors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social welfare. Moreover, the volatility of the global oil prices often necessitates a higher subsidy expenditure, leading to fiscal deficit and increasing the country's reliance on external borrowing, thus elevating the concerns over long-term economic stability. So today, we will be discussing with Madam Amza Awolu, a lecturer from the Ahmadu Bello University, Department of Political Science, to give us more insights about the issue of the fuel subsidy removal and the possible challenges that Nigerians are facing. So we'll take a very short break, and when we return, we continue with the conversation.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television, DSTV, Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial, Channel 127, Free TV, Channel 507, People's TV, Channel 285, and UHF, Channel 38.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened...
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet her for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please.
Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks now.
Madam, why did you invite us to come help chase your tenants now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow
The new police law.
Welcome back from the short break, and as I discussed earlier, the issue of the President Tinubu's palliative plan is something that Nigerians are still waiting for. But then just before now, the Senate President has started reading, if he has not finished, he has started reading the names of those the President has sent to the Senate for screening for the ministerial position. Till this moment, we can't say clearly if the portfolios were attached, but I know their names have been read. And some of the familiar ones definitely is the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of River State, in person of Nyesom Wike, and some other governors whose name reflected in that particular list. So, good afternoon, Mala Amza. It's nice having you on the program.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You know, the issue of fuel subsidy has been a major problem. And definitely many Nigerians are still battling with it. While we are waiting, there was this issue that because the ministers are not yet on board, it will be difficult for the president to roll out some of his palliative plan and the rest. So what's your take on the issue of subsidy removal at first?
Well, thank you very much, Mala Imisa. I think let me start by saying that whatever I'm going to say here will only represent my own opinion, not anybody's opinion. I'm saying this because if you look at the issue of fuel subsidy, it's something that's unavoidable. We can't avoid it because it's something that happens in other parts of the world. Whether we like it or not, this thing will also take place in Nigeria. But the way and manner that President Ahmed Bola Tinubu announced the issue of subsidy removal, it has just something that came overnight. People didn't prepare for it. Before even Tinubu came on board, there was even a serious issue on the economy. People were suffering. You understand? Everything has not been good for the people. Now, on 29 May, when he just came for inauguration, he announced this issue of fuel removal. And I think the reason why I'm saying that I'm only doing whatever I'm going to say here will only represent my own opinion is that we can't avoid it. If you look at the other countries of the world, the issue of fuel subsidy has been taking place. You understand? And the issue is that if you look at even the form of the price of petroleum product, you understand? Up to now in Nigeria, it's still the lowest compared to other countries of the world. But the issue is that what about their income? What about even the salary of the workers? That's the most important thing that the government should have considered before it remove subsidy. It's not only maybe looking at the only workers alone. There are other people, maybe category of people like retirees, business people, people that are not even working, the non-working class people, and also the workers. What I'm saying here is that what the federal government should have or ought to have done is just to put measures in place before removing before announcing the fuel subsidy. For example, on the issue of workers, the government before then should have maybe set a kind of technical committee to review the minimum wage, the salary, in such a way that maybe people will just have a kind of a living wage, not a what kind of minimum wage? Because what people are earning is not even taking them home. And that's why even the workers are finding it difficult to contribute, you understand, for the productivity, which is also affecting the economic aspect of the country. That's one. For the retirees, they are also part of Nigerian society. We all go to the same markets. And these people are suffering. What they earn is meager compared to other retirees in other part of the world. If you look at, there are also another group of people that are not even working, especially the youth. Government should be able, at least before the removal subsidy, to introduce a kind of scheme that will help our youth, you understand, engage them, the ways they can create job for themselves. Or maybe training centers. Government should provide money available with zero interest, so that at least our youth can go. You know, some of them they are graduate, some they even have masters, some they even have PhDs, but they are not being employed. So they can go to this kind of financial institutions, you understand, at the micro level, or something at the micro level, to obtain kind of loans. At least they can create a job for themselves. This will also bring a kind of maybe will reduce this kind of suffering on the people. And also the other, what do you call the business people, the business class, they are also part of the system. So in this case, even the business people, they should also be what the economy, or maybe the borders should be open, because there's no way that we can live in a kind of an isolated world. You understand? We are at the edge of globalization. We must interact with each other. So opening the borders is good for the economy in one way, and maybe not good for in another way. It's good in the sense that what we cannot produce cannot be into our country, and we can also take outside what other countries cannot produce. It's very important. That's what we call the interdependence, international relation, interdependency. So we need to interact with other people. But by the time you close the economy now, you are now limiting even the ideas. You are limiting the productivity. You are limiting the movement of people, skills, and so on and so forth, which is also killing the economy. You understand? But on the other hand, on the positive aspect, if you look at it, the opening of the district may affect the economy. You understand? Negatively. Negatively in the sense that maybe our production, our GT may continue to be go low, because we are going to rely on foreign production. But it's good. But if you say that you want to close the economy, you have to also put mechanisms, approaches maybe that also help the economy. You understand? But you can't just wake up and say that you close the economy or you open. No, it's not something like that. You understand? Now, if you look at the issue of subsidy, I'm very much interested in talking about the issue of subsidy if you look at it from the perspective of economic aspects. The reason is that we know everybody is affecting everybody, because everything is linked with the oil. If you look at every sector of the Nigeria or every sector of the human endeavor, you understand, it's being affected. Now, school fees, it linked with the education, health sector, transportation, and so on and so forth. So this issue of subsidy removal is affecting virtually everybody. It's affecting everybody in the country, and everybody now is suffering because as in the name of fuel subsidy. Now, federal government before then, they have been claiming that maybe the subsidy is only beneficial to minor segment or maybe tiny segment of the Nigerian population. If I'm to say maybe the elites, they are the one benefiting from the subsidy. Now, my question always remains: if now the government now remove the subsidy now, to make it beneficial to everybody in the country, or in the West in the country, but how sure are we that? How sure are we, or the government? How sure is the government that maybe this money will also reach the poor man or the common people? That is the most dangerous and also the most difficult thing. Because if you say now you remove the subsidy now, we agree that maybe it's only one tiny segment, less than 1% of the population that have been benefiting from this subsidy. Now it's removed. With the palliatives now, how sure are we maybe the money now will reach the people? Because now we have a lot of money now, between May to date. You understand? We have a lot of money on the ground. How to share the money even now is becoming a problem, because even their eyes are there. Who will benefit of the money? Federal government said that they are going to start distributing 8,000 per household. You understand? But 8,000 naira will not even address the problem. People in the rural areas, how would they get there? This 8,000 naira we are talking about. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think maybe giving 8,000 naira will address the problem. In fact, it will compound another problem if care is not taken. Because they don't even have bank accounts. In the rural areas, they don't have bank accounts. So how will they get this alert? How will they get this money? Despite the fact that the money will not even be enough. What's 8,000 naira? We're talking about the fuel is 617 naira per litre. So it's still on the economy, even the productivity has gone down drastically. Because people cannot even go to their offices and work. Some of them even kept their own vehicles at home. So maybe some are even trekking. Eyes witness, some are even trekking to their offices. By the time you reach office, you get tired already. So how can you maybe contribute? How do you expect productivity, high productivity in this kind of situation? So honestly, government should have already taken a kind of but no, it's not palliative. The kind of measures before removing the subsidy, in such a way that by the time the government remove, if all these measures have been put in place, I'm very, very sure, the way people are suffering now will not be like this. I'm very, very sure. Because the measures will affect every people, every sector, you understand, and every segment of the Nigerian society. But honestly, people are suffering, honestly. And if care is not taken, and this thing continues like this, it will cost something. I won't say anything, but it will cost something else. Because people are now being pushed into the world. By the time they turn back, that the thing will not be good for the country.
You've mentioned earlier that Nigeria cannot live in isolation.
Yeah.
And you've stated clearly that there's need for all the borders to be opened for cross activities between Nigerians and the neighboring countries. With what is happening now in Sudan, is it in Niger Republic, is it very important that we should still make our borders open?
Yeah. Because the issue, if we all agree that we must live within the ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, part of the objectives or the principle of ECOWAS is to ensure free movement of labor. That's, people from one country to another within the West African sub-region. Movement, because by the time you allow people to move from one country to another, then you are promoting what you are transparent ideas, you are transparent expertise. And that will also help your economy and also other economies, because some will also come into your country. But by the time you close the border, that's why I say that you can look at it on one positive and also negative aspect. You understand? Because whichever you are taking now, you must put a kind of mechanism in place. You must put it, which I thought we have not putting that in place. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, you understand? Maybe use a policy or maybe a kind of more protectionist theory. Protectionism, yes, protectionism, to close the borders. Yes, in one way or the other, because one of his major policy was maybe to revitalize the agriculture sector and abandon, not even to abandon, to reduce the reliance on oil. Let's develop maybe other sectors of the non-oil producing, other sector of the economy, notably agriculture. But if you say agriculture you want to revitalize, you can't just wake up and say that you want to revitalize agriculture. You must put certain approaches or certain things in place for that thing to work, to that policy to work. Honestly, it's a very good policy. I was even in support of the policy of President Muhammadu Buhari to revitalize agriculture because we have land. And that's the only thing that can address the problem that we are facing, the challenges of economic challenges we are facing, unemployment and so on and so forth, even the poverty itself. But the problem is that have the government been able to provide facilities? When I say facility, agricultural inputs, fertilizer, insecticides, and so on, even loan. Loan should be given, if not free, but should be given a kind of a minimal percentage. Or interest rate, let me put it that way. Interest rates.
Interest rate, yeah.
So that at least that will encourage farmers to go and want to obtain loan from the bank. But if you go there now, who are even this small scale, medium, SMEDA and so on, all these were measures put in place. But the question is that were they being able to supervise very well? Were they being able maybe to distribute the money given by the federal government to them? The issue is that only if you are linked with somebody in this kind of organization, institution, that you're able to get this thing. Most of the real farmers at the grassroots, they have been benefiting. They have been benefiting. Somebody that has never been to the farms, doesn't even have a farmland, will get even the money. and you see that you want to maybe revitalize the agriculture sector, you want to increase maybe to rationalize the agriculture sector and improve the economy, improve maybe the post security and so on and so forth. How can you do that without putting it in place? Even the fertilizer was not even available for the farmers, the real farmers. They couldn't get it. Look at the price of the fertilizer as far back as 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. It was highly exorbitant in the market in such a way that real farmers cannot even buy their fertilizer. Many people have even started using maybe local fertilizer, the mono. And you say you want to maybe revitalize the agriculture sector and improve put production, which is not possible. You understand? So you say, and also a lot of money has been released, you understand, to encourage rice farming in Nigeria. We all know this during Buhari. A lot of billions of naira. But the question is that what has been the result? Of course, many have been engaged in rice farming. You understand? But the problem is that it's not the real farmer that have been getting the loan. And even if you get even the money, you understand. If you don't, the insecurity also is also another tropical issue at that time. There should be insecurity. Many people, especially in the corner of the place I'm coming from Kaduna State, people, they have vast land. Many of our people, they have vast land, but they can't go to their own pubs because of the insecurity. You can easily be kidnapped, and the kidnapper will just be looking for ransom, millions of naira. Where can you get that money? So the issue of closing the economy, maybe to some extent, will not be good if you are talking about, we want to exist within the framework of West ECOWAS, that's West African Sub-Region. It's good to open the economy. You understand? But there must be a kind of limits. We should also be able to know the kind of food or the kind of product or goods that we should either be bringing into our country and take outside the country. Because before, in the 60s, 70s, you understand, Nigeria was very good in kind of agricultural production. We could feed ourselves and also take the surplus to the other countries.
Maybe that could be the reason why the president has declared emergency on food security.
Yeah.
And if we are to look at that, even after that statement he made on the day of inauguration, May 29, there was this particular issue across the neighboring countries like Niger and Cameroon. They were also crying that the cost of fuel in their petrol in their place has also quadrupled. And as a result of it, so Nigeria has great impact in this neighboring country. But coming back home now, what do you think the president can do in the short term for him to address some of these challenges? Because indeed, Nigerians are facing one or two challenges as a result of this cost.
You see, Bala Isa, to be realistic, there's no way the federal government will go back and revert that policy. It's not possible. It has been announced already. And the subsidy has been removed. I told you right from the beginning that it's not only peculiar to Nigeria. It has happened somewhere elsewhere in the world. But the problem is that in some other part of the world, there have been, for example, if you take, for example, Saudi Arabia, I don't know the exact price, but I know it's more than 1,000 naira per liter. But people in Saudi Arabia are not paying it. If you look at their income, there's so many ways people can make money because government has intervened already in so many things. Not even on the issue of palliatives. There's nothing like palliatives in Saudi Arabia. Nothing like palliatives. But people, even somebody who is not working in Saudi Arabia, is not feeling the impact. That impact of this increase in price
cost
of
fuel.
fuel. Yes, cost of fuel. Because everybody is doing well and the economy is very sound. Government has intervened. And the income of the people are getting, there are so many industries are working. Even though they are not industrially, it's a third world country. It's a third world country, but all the same, the government has been able to put aside, you understand, so many things that can maybe make sure that the policies are working very well. Unlike in Nigeria, if you look at the salary, look at the salary. The minimum wage is 30,000 naira. And even in some states, they are not able to implement the 30,000 naira. In Nigeria, there are some states, even in the north, I don't know, even other part of the country, you understand, that are paying even 18,000 naira, less than 30,000 naira. How do you expect a household, somebody, even if you are single, to live in Nigeria with income of less than 30,000 naira per month? For God's sake, you have children. And this is not only affecting the issue, but it's affecting the health. It's also affecting the transportation. It's affecting education. It's affecting every sector. every sector or maybe aspect of human life. That's where the problem is. My only, I think, the advice for Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I know there's no going back on this issue of fuel subsidy. But I think he has set up a technical committee on the issue of minimum wage. That's number. Let me start by minimum wage. Because always government, and the most danger is that government should not always look at workers, only workers, at its, maybe at its talakawa, let me put it that way. There are people that are not working. What are you going to do with them? They are also Nigerians. We are talking about the Nigerian resources. They should also, because if some part or one segment of society is benefiting, what other one is not benefiting, then there is going to be a crisis. We are talking about the national resources. Everybody should have his or her own share. Every segment of society needs to be carried along. You understand? Because this removal now, the essence of removal is maybe to deny some very tiny segment of society from benefiting from the subsidy. That's the claim. That's the claim. You understand? Now, government remove the subsidy. The government wants everybody now to benefit. You understand? So by the time you have to make sure the best mechanism to put in place is that to make sure that this money reach, you understand, the poor people, maybe the lower class. The lower are the one that they suffer most. They are the ones suffer most from the fuel subsidy now. I can't precisely recall the exact billions of naira that has been given to the National Assembly. Look at their number. I'm not against it, but look at their number. If you are just to do a kind of social justice, let's look at it from this point of view, the concept of social justice. I'm a political scientist. Because all the crisis that's happening is as a result of lack of social justice in the distribution of societal resources. If there has been a kind of, because the issue of subsidy removal is as a result of an inequitable distribution of societal wealth or resources. That's what is causing all this problem. That's why we are killing each other. If the societal resources is being shared among different segments of the society equally, based on the needs, there won't be any problem. So at least the lower class people need to be given a serious attention because they are the ones who suffer the most. I'm not saying that the other segment of the society or the elite should be neglected. No, but should be based on the needs. Based on the needs. And you're talking about democracy. Who voted the government into power? The elites. I saw the poor people. Or even the electorate. I mean the common people like me and others. And you and other people. So why are we suffering because in the name of democracy? Why? And that's why this will also link our discussion to the issue of maybe the issue of this who you are talking about. By the time you push people to the wall now, we are talking about the ECOWAS within the sub-region now. So if something happened in one country, it may likely happen in another country. You can't even isolate ourselves. What's happening now in Niger may likely escalate to other countries, maybe to other countries. Because Nigeria now, the people in Nigeria are suffering because of the economic hardship. And that can also be transferred to Niger and most of the
Cameroon and
yes, and neighboring countries. If you are looking at it from the contagion theory of military intervention, I'm very sure if care is not taken, it may likely affect Nigeria and other countries. We are not praying for that. But that's the reality. Most of this, because even now the guards or maybe the military that have taken over power from Niger is because of the circumstances, because of the economic hardship. It's because of the economic hardship in Niger. And that's why they have taken over. And this is what's in Nigeria. Are we enjoying? We're not enjoying. The policy is harsh. It's a kind of drastic policy. Whenever government is taking a policy, it should be a kind of rational policy, not a drastic policy that will maybe take people into suffering or maybe will take their life into danger. It's very dangerous for the government.
So now, in this particular case...
Let me say this, and this kind of policy is, whether you like directly or indirectly, inviting military. It's inviting military. Whether we like it or not. Even though to some extent military are also part of it. They're enjoying. In Nigeria, let me talk about my country. Military are enjoying the system in the name of insecurity. In the name of insecurity. Because of money that has been spent over for the last 8-10 years just for security. The question now is, what is the result? Where is the result now? But we thank God. Things are what becoming maybe are turning into good shape now, as we can see. But all the same now, we need better than this.
Okay, in that particular case, when you say we need better than this, these are issues that definitely will need more time, definitely, to explain more. I still have some other questions I'll definitely ask you, but then now we'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we continue with this conversation, because there is so much that we need to discuss on, most especially at this particular point in time where the names of some of the ministers have been sent to the National Assembly. So we'll take a very short break, and then when we return, we continue with Malam Amza Awalu Abdulaziz from the Department of Political Science, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet am for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please. Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
if we follow
The new police law.
Welcome back from that short break, and still on the issue, the fuel subsidy removal challenges and the palliatives. We're still discussing with Malam Awalu Amza Abdulaziz from Department of Political Science, Ahmadu Bello University, telling us, giving us a better understanding of what the government should do in order to alleviate the issue of the subsidy removal, or probably the pains that comes with the subsidy removal. So, Madam, thank you for giving us so many analysis and then so many analogy on how things should be. Now, in this particular case, I remember even after the declaration of 8,000 naira as part of the palliative measures and the rest, which I think the government has taken back and said they are going to look at it. The governors have also stated it very clearly that the issue of having the former social register that was being used by the previous government is something that they have to look at it again. I think the governor of your state, Kaduna State, was even the one that started the issue on the national TV. And then the governor of Nasarawa State said it, yes, that the governors should be responsible on how they should manage or what social register they are going to use, because they are the custodian of the state and they know how they can work with the local government chairman to get some of this plan or policy by the federal government to the grassroots. Do you agree with the way we manage issue of social palliatives or social register to the Nigerians?
Well, in my own opinion, I mean, if you are to go on social register, that I disagree.
Okay.
I strongly disagree with that opinion, because if you are saying social register now, even during Bahari, when there was a social register, how many people benefited from the money? I made mention of Smedan. How many people, if you don't know, if you don't have anybody, myself here, I register. I follow all the channels, obtain the certificate and everything, but I couldn't get anything. And I'm good in fish farming. I register, I do everything. What I'm saying here is that the issue of social register will not even address the problem we are facing, because the vulnerable people that suffer, even the people that are suffering, are at the grassroots. They are close to the local government. Government at the grassroots, local government, they move to the state. Because the federal government is far from them. You understand? So the government now is trying to bring it down, which is okay. By me, it's okay to bring it down to the local government and also state. And the state governors should monitor and want to supervise how the money should be distributed. But the issue is that, how sure are we? That's my own strength, or that's my point. Or my question always that, how sure are we that this money will reach the people at the grassroots? That is a problem. Because the people that supposed to get the money are not the ones that will benefit at the end of the day. You see that only people, maybe if you just know somebody, or maybe you are part of the elite, you understand, their son, their children, you understand, their relatives are the ones that will benefit from the money. We all know this is something new. We should tell ourselves the truth. But I think the measures that government that's supposed to put in place, okay, for example, even for transportation now, everywhere now, government, even at the state, at the local government should also use the money and supervise, make a kind of effective supervision to make sure that at least the buses should be provided. I'm working ABU. So maybe at least maybe there should be a kind of a bus, maybe for Zaire City, you understand? Maybe the only thing is you just present your ID card. If you are working in Shika, there should be a kind of bus for Shika. You understand? Everywhere in the country, government can do that. And if you look at the money we have maybe to be shared between the state, local government, and the federal government, the money generated between this 2 months, you understand, from this subsidy removal, it will be more than enough to buy buses across the country. So that you can even be paying 100 naira depending on the distance, 100, 200 naira. I think that will also relieve you from buying fuel. 10,000 naira, if you have a car, 10,000 naira, 2-3 days is finished. So I think that's the best measure that the government should also the state governor, apart from even by the federal government to make sure that maybe the buses are provided across the country. Apart from that, the issue of people at the grassroots is the responsibility of the state governors to make sure that they monitor how this money should be judiciously distributed or shared among the people at the grassroots, using the local government chairman at their own local government. If not, at the end of the day, the result will not be positive. Positive in the sense that the elite are also one that will also benefit. In any policy in Nigeria, elite are the one that are benefited more than the common people. That is the thing in Nigeria. Which is also different from other part of the world.
So are you scared of, probably because even when the subsidy was not removed, there was issue of corruption, diversion of Nigerian petrol to other neighboring countries and the rest. Are you scared that corruption may still come into this kind of policy that the government is going to put up?
Yes, the money.
In such a way that is going to affect Nigeria.
I'm talking about even the money accrued from what? From the subsidy removal. That's my fear. I'm not against the government of removing.
Policies, yeah,
my only problem with the removal of subsidy is what is just overnight. Government announced this removal overnight. Instead of government have been taking steps or maybe put measures before removing the subsidy. That's my only my problem with the policy. That's one. I told you right from the beginning of our discussion that this issue of social removal is everywhere. It's a universal phenomenon. We can't run out from it. It's unavoidable. But my fear is that if maybe the government is claiming, this present administration is claiming that maybe the money or the subsidy is only benefiting only a tiny segment of Nigerian society, that's the elite. And that's why the government administration, I told the present government administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu decided to remove the subsidy so that everybody will benefit. That's where my fear is. Because I'm not even sure whether this money will reach the common people. And that's also where the corruption will also come in.
So the government should provide enough, probably get the anti-corruption agencies to also be ready in terms of monitoring.
There's also a kind of effective monitoring in the distribution of this money or sharing of this money. That's what government should do. But that of is obvious. Government, that's what government should do even from now to the next 8, 6, 7 months. And government should also be a kind of proactive in terms of reviewing the salary minimum wage. That's number one. Number two, even the retirees, their own pensions should also be reviewed. That should be a kind of upward review. Another thing is to review the kind of social bias in the society is also our youth. Not only to give them money, government should provide avenues, put mechanisms in place in which people our youth can engage themselves. Most of them are educated, but they don't have job. They should also engage themselves so that they can create wealth, they can get money for themselves. And government should even come in, even if it costs more government to provide to provide money in the banks, so that people maybe our youth will just go there and maybe obtain loan at a zero rate interest rate. I think that will also go a long way addressing this problem. Otherwise, this problem, if this thing continues like this, and government has not taken a kind of government has not been so proactive in taking the decision or a policy to address this problem, what is happening in other countries around where even once happens solution may likely happen to Nigeria.
Of which we don't pray for.
Yes, and we don't pray for that. And we don't pray for that. And Nigeria is one of the most popular. It's fine. It's not even the one of. It's the most populous country in Africa. It's the most populous country in Africa.
My fear again is the issue of with what is happening presently in Niger Republic, for instance, is that if it continues this way, we'll have so many refugees coming into the country, which will also be a major burden at this particular point in time when we've not actually taken ourselves out of that challenge we are facing as a result of this first subsidy.
That's why it's a problem of immigration. The institution is very weak. Yes, our immigration system is weak because they are the one to challenge the in and out of the country. People that are coming should be checked, but people are just coming into Nigeria anyhow. It's not happening in other part of the world. It's not happening, and that's what also creates so many problems economically, socially, and otherwise. So even the issue of even opening the economy does not mean you should allow everybody to come in. No. We are talking about the economy, how to revive the economy, or maybe to make the economy very sound. Transfer of expertise, ideas, and so on and so forth. Because by the time you allow, like I said, by the time you allow people to move from one country to another, you are just maybe transferring maybe expertise, ideas, and so on and so forth. And the trade will also boost the economic situation of the world, countries within the North African separate. Understand? So I think the issue of maybe coming into the country and outside the country, that has to do with the immigration system, which is very weak. They should also be proactive in discharging their own duty or responsibility of not allowing any kind of people to come into the country. You understand? Because they want to protect the country. You understand? You understand? But if you allow everybody not to come in, instead of maybe allowing the economy to boost, they will end up bringing criminals into the economy, and that will also kill the economy. Because you are talking about people that will come and maybe give their own contribution to the economy, to boost the economy. But you end up bringing the criminal, allowing criminal to come into the economy. What are they going to contribute to the economy? Nothing, virtually nothing.
Okay, on a last note, even when it comes to the issue of distribution of this wealth we've gotten as a result of the removal of the fuel subsidy, and the governors, just like they've stated that, let them manage it within states. And there's still that fear among some political scientists that some governors may politicize the process, which may end up not achieving its objective.
Yeah, I told you that. That's my fear also. I share the same view with the other political scientists because I'm also a political scientist and I study politics. So I've already studied the situation. And to be justice to the issue, honestly, I'm afraid whether this money will be equally distributed or also with the right people. That's where the fear is. And not only me, anybody that is in his conscience will think in the same way. And maybe at the end of the day, if the money, now you are talking about 400 billion, whatever. So how do you, that money, if that money is enough to address the problem we are having, is money enough? We don't even need to go and buy to borrow money. We don't need it. The money is enough to address our problem. If the money is judicially used.
If it is
judiciously used, yeah. We have enough. We don't even need to go outside and borrow. We don't need it.
Okay, thank you so much, Malam Amza Awalu Abdulaziz from the Department of Political Science, giving us your ideas on what it should be when we have challenges like this. And we truly appreciate you for coming to the afternoon edition. This is how far we can go today on the program, the afternoon edition. We've been speaking on the issue of fuel subsidy challenges and how we can manage it, most especially the issue of the palliatives that we are waiting the government to start rolling. So while the names of the ministers are being read in the National Assembly, and we expect that, yes, their coming will be a relief for the nation. So this is how far we can go today on the program. My name is Issa No. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.
Thank you very much.